everybody, welcome to Busy Beeswax Creations. Today we are going to be using pink beeswax. If you went to school this week on either Tuesday or Thursday, you would have been given a piece of pink beeswax. So that's what we will use today. Because it is quite cool at the moment, it's late autumn, we will rub our hands together to warm them up. And we will do our little fingertip exercise to get our fingers going. We used to do this in class all the time. Thumb, pointer, tall man, ring finger, pinky, and back. Pinky, ring, tall man, pointer, thumb. And again, one more time, and back. And rub your hands again. And place your beeswax into the palm of your hand, that precious beeswax from the bees, and cover it with your other palm so it's safe and warm. And our verse. From the bees, this gift of gold is here for us to warm and hold. Fragrant beeswax in our hand is full of goodness from the land. Now I'm going to pop my beeswax under my arm because my hands are a little bit cold. Some people have cold hands, so if you have cold hands, that's the best place for your beeswax. And if you have warm hands, keep them nice and safe in those palms. We're going to hear another serendipity book today, which is very exciting, Serena. I bet you are excited to hear this story, and I bet Rosen is too. So the story is called Jake O'Shaughnessy. That's a funny name for a book, isn't it? Jake O'Shaughnessy. Okay, Amity, let's see what this book holds for us today. So it is written by Stephen Cosgrove and illustrated by Robin James. The wind blows free in Ireland. It whistles from the ocean and soars over the Emerald Isle. Birds of all sorts from all over the world flock there to take advantage of the winging winds. There are swallows, eagles, owls, and a whole lot of seagulls. 1,000 or more birds sit on the edge of the cliffs that overlook the Atlantic Ocean. They wait for just the right breeze to send them soaring high into the sky with no effort whatsoever. The seagulls, like the rest of the birds, would constantly take wing just for the fun of flying. All the seagulls, that is, except a strange-looking green Irish seagull by the name of Jake O'Shaughnessy. Can you see that beautiful picture there, Cam, of those cliffs where all the birds fly off? Now, it wasn't that Jake didn't want to fly. Oh, how he wanted to. But he didn't believe he could fly. And because he didn't believe, he couldn't. Jake would flap his wings and try desperately to catch a breeze. As he would begin to lift from the ground, flapping his wings furiously, he would think, I don't think I can fly. In fact, I can't. With that, he would fall to the ground with a heavy crash, usually losing 8 to 10 feathers for his efforts. And there he is, fallen to the ground, Blythe. Jake O'Shaughnessy was not a seagull to give up easily. He tried every trick there was in the seagull flying manual, but nothing would work. Once, out of desperation, Jake grabbed hold of the tail of a kite and soared over 100 feet into the air. Then, when the kite reached the end of its string, Jake let go. For a moment it looked as if he might make it. He was flapping his wings magnificently, but then, as always, Jake began thinking he couldn't fly. He'd stopped flapping his wings. Down he fell, twisting and turning, with feathers floating gently behind him, into the ocean below. There he is, falling down. Can you see Jet? Our little Jake O'Shaughnessy. With all his falling and jumping off cliffs, Jake was becoming an absolute menace in the sky. All the birds would constantly look this way and that in fear of being hit by a large green seagull falling. In desperation, the birds of Ireland held a secret meeting. "We have to do something about Jake," shouted the swallows. "Sure," croaked the crows, "but what can we do?" They thought and thought. Finally, a wise old owl stepped forward and said, "Possibly I could teach Jake O'Shaughnessy the secret of the cliffs of County Court." They stopped and gazed at the cliffs above them. Solemnly, they agreed that the secret held the only hope of Jake learning to fly. While the other birds cheered him on, the wise old owl flew off to find Jake. There's the wise old owl, Blythe. Now, finding Jake had never been a difficult task for any of the birds of Ireland. All they would have to do was look in the water at the bottom of the base of the cliff, and there Jake would be, floundering in the sea. Today was no exception. The wise old owl waited patiently on the beach for Jake to swim ashore. "Jake," said the owl, "do you really want to learn to fly?" Jake thought for a moment and then answered quickly, "Oh yes, I'm tired of falling, and I've had 5 colds already this year from swimming in that cold ocean." "What I'm about to tell you," said the owl, "is the location of the secret of the cliffs of County Court. With that secret, you can learn to fly." Now we have that Leo. The owl solemnly turned and pointed to the top of the cliffs towering above them. "The secret, Jake, is there at the top. When you find it, you will never have a problem flying again." Jake took a long look up the cliff. "But how will I get all the way up there?" he asked. "I can barely fly downwards, so how could I possibly fly up?" "You must do that yourself," said the owl, who flew off to join the other feathered spectators waiting at the top of the cliff. There they all are waiting, Elvis. Jake took a couple of deep breaths of fresh air. He gulped once and began flapping his wings in hopes of flying to the top. His flapping came to a sudden stop when he once again thought, "Oh no, I don't believe I can do it." With that, he fell back with a clunk to the beach below. "I'll never get to the top by flying because I know I can't fly. But I know how to get to the top. Without flying." So Jake scurried around looking for things that would help set his plan in motion. Ariella, he has fallen to the ground. Jake found a great length of old vine hanging from the rocks. Then he searched the beach until he found an old fish hook. Carefully, he lashed it to the end of his vine rope. And finally, with the help of 2 starfish he strapped to his feet, he was ready to climb the cliffs. There he is, all set up. See that, Jamaica? Jake carefully threw the fish hook high into the rocks, and when it was secure, he began pulling himself up. With the starfish on his feet, he had excellent traction. Step by step, he came closer to the secret of the cliffs of County Court. High above him and all around him, he could hear his cheering section urging him upward and onward. Up he goes, Grace. Up he goes. Finally, after many hours of hard climbing, Jake O'Shaughnessy reached to the top of the cliffs of County Court. His friends shouted and cheered as Jake stood there panting and puffing after his long journey. There he is panting. He's very tired, Charlotte. I'm at the top, puffed Jake. But where is the secret? The birds shouted in unison. It's there, written upon that rock. Jake, for the first time, noticed a large boulder right before him. Carved on the rock was this message. If you find you're not believing in everything you do, just remember lots of trying will bring confidence to you. Jake thought, I wonder if that could be my problem. Maybe I can fly if I have confidence in what I'm doing. That's it. I need only to believe in myself, and then I can learn to fly. There he is, Marley, up close. Beautiful Jake O'Shaughnessy. Carefully, Jake unfolded his wings, flapped them once or twice, and found the confidence to bolster his courage. I know I can do it. I know I can fly. I really and truly believe in myself. With that, his wings began to pound, and Jake, as gracefully as any other Irish bird, lifted from the ground and flew high into the sky. There he goes, Matilda. Proud Jake. Jake O'Shaughnessy was totally confident now. He believed in himself because he believed he could fly. Jake was so happy he felt that he could fly without falling for the rest of his life. So if you're deep in trouble and don't believe in what you do, just remember Jake O'Shaughnessy and the confidence will come to you. There he is, Artie, flying. This story would have ended happily, except for one small problem. Jake O'Shaughnessy never learned to land. And that's the end, Minnow. Did you enjoy that story, Violet? That's our Jake story, Jake O'Shaughnessy. So now get your beeswax, that should be nice and warm, and begin to form your beeswax ball. Rolling it up in your warm fingers, hopefully, until you get a nice ball. We always start with a ball, don't we, Bowden? And from that ball, we are going to form Jake. I'll get you an image so that you can see exactly which Jake we are going to do. I have a favourite that I want to do. I hope it's your favourite too. This one. So it is Jake with his big wings out. And he has his body, his big wings, and his tail. And then a neck that comes up with a head and a beak. That's our Jake. We don't need to do the legs in that one because his legs are tucked up. Did you notice that, Rowan? So we're going to start with our body. We want a big body. And we are going to pinch out a tail from there. But mostly, and we can work on that tail a bit, just get an inkling for it at the moment. And we are going to pinch out the neck that will come up and out to be the head. But the biggest part of Jake is his huge wings. So out from the sides, we are going to bring out as much beeswax as we can to form those big wings. The bigger the better, with Jake's beautiful wings that help him to fly so well. So you've got the middle, the wings, and the tail coming through, and all of them are going to be drawn out further and further. So work as best as you can. Bring up the neck and the head and the long, he has a very long beak, Jake. Something like that. I'll show you the picture again. And then the big wings come out. They come one way and then they kind of bend the other. So we have the wings going out one way and the other and coming to a beautiful point. I know I'm very hard to show you what I'm doing here. It's quite amazing. The pink becomes very translucent, so that looks really quite special with Jake's wings. We have those wings forming. And don't forget the tail that goes skinny and then fans out. I'll show you again. Now this is our Jake starting to form. He's going to be flying, flapping his wings up in the air and flying, and his tail's coming out and his body's up. You start to see Jake flying through that sky. Keep forming it as best as you can, and don't forget to get an adult in your life to show me, take a photo and show me what you have produced. And see, I want to see all these Jake O'Shaughnessy's flying through the air. Okay? Have a good day, everybody, and see you really, really soon. Bye.